Hello again everyone. In this lecture we will discuss about the different generation of mobile telecommunication along with the technologies that are used in each and every generation, and then we'll also discuss about the different protocols that are used for your mobile telecommunication. We'll start with the first generation of mobile telecommunication. Your first generation mobile was introduced in the year 1970s and early 1980s. And it was an analog radio technology which is used to send only voice signal, right, from mobile phone to another. From phone, in this particular case, it was not a mobile phone; it was just your ordinary landline phone. From one device, I mean, to another device. They use the concept of circuit switching, and where they have towers set up, and then we'll have all those the telephone exchange operator, fine, which will connect one call to another from one device to another device. Now the basic element that was used in the first generation of this mobile telecommunication was just a telephone, the cell sites here, and where exactly you'll be sending it, and then the switching center, in which is the telephone operator here. So this was your first generation computer. And then after this, fine, we have the second generation computer, which was introduced a little or like early in the early of 1990s. Fine. Unlike that of the analog phone, here this is where you'll start using actually what we have nowadays, your cell phone. And this was your first digital mobile that used the actual digital signal to send the message, and from one phone to another phone. But in this particular generation also, we are still using the concept of the circuit switching, where you still have your telephone exchange operator. Now this generation computer use a protocol called as the GSM, which we'll discuss in details in the later slides. And it is in this generation that the user first started using the SIM card, what we call nowadays, which is the subscriber identification modules. Now using a SIM card, what happens is a user can easily switch without any difficulty. A user can easily switch cell phone, I mean devices. It's not necessary that like if you have a device, you will use that device throughout for as long as you're using a particular number. But you can always switch, like what is happening nowadays. Before, what happens, they have mobile phone where the SIM card will be embedded into a phone. Fine. So if you use that phone, if you want to use that number, you'll have to stick with that particular phone. If you want to change a SIM card, then you have to change or you have to have a different phone. Whereas with this particular generation of computer, what happened is you can easily switch your phone or your devices. Now, other than the voice signal which was provided in the first generation computer, this particular device here allows you to send SMS and allows you to send picture messages, and also some, not to what extent we have nowadays your multimedia message, but you were even allowed to send multimedia message. Besides that, you can also send fax, you can send voicemail in this generation computer. Right, in first generation computer, what we have is the first generation computer was not very secure. There was no means of security, and it have a very low capacity. Well, that's why you can send only voice. Whereas in second generation computer, when you compare it to first generation, it is much more secure. The main reason is because here the digital message that is transmitted, they will be encrypted. That means when you send the message from one machine to another machine, it will be transmitted in the form of a code. Fine. So you need to break the code in order to understand the message. When it reach the receiver side, when it reach the other end, then again it will be decrypted. It will be actually converted to what the sender or the one speaking from the other side was actually speaking. But in between, it will be in a coded form. So that if anyone get to overhear what you are speaking also, they will not be able to find out what exactly you are talking about. So this is regarding your second generation mobile telecommunication. And then next we have the 3G or the third generation computer. In here what happened is we cannot just drastically change, right, from second generation to third generation. Initially, till second generation, your mobile telecommunication use a circuit switch. So there were still some devices that still use circuit switch. So if we suddenly change from circuit to packet switch, many of the device now will not work anymore. So in order to be able to accommodate people, to allow them to at least make the changes, that transition, what happened is the third generation computer allows both the uses, that mean both the circuit switch which was implemented in the first and second generation, as well as the packet switch. Fine, so that from this generation onward, people will at least start using the packet switch computer or the packet switch method here. They are much faster compared to that of the first generation computer, and it will be in this generation, fine, that the MMS facilities here becomes much better compared to that of the first and the second, the second generation computer. First generation we don't have MMS, and now here in the third generation computer we also can implement, or it is in this generation computer that the voice over IP or the voice over internet protocol or your telephone, internet telephone have been implemented. So it is from this generation computer that you can make call through your computer. You don't have to have a cell phone anymore. You can always communicate, or you can have a voice chat over your computer. And it is in this generation computer, find that where different organization here provide some sort of standard for using, so that each and every brand or each and every say for example in this case each and every mobile provider here can use or can share one single network. This allows more compatibility, so that everyone can use the same network. It's not necessary that if I use an Airtel, and Airtel will have its own bandwidth. If I use, say for example, Vodafone will have its own bandwidth. But now each and every device here, each and every service provider can use a common network. Right? So they will be more compatible with each other, and it's not only within a state or a region, but this is applicable worldwide. Next one is the fourth generation computer, what we're using nowadays. Okay, it's a 4G phone. Most of us are using 4G phone. Fine. Now you can understand the difference here. Now this is the extension of the 3G, the third generation computer. They have more bandwidth, they have more speed. Fine. They support they use a combination of, we have Wi-Fi, right? We have WiMAPs. They use many more wireless communication technology, that is compared to the previous generation. They are much faster here in downloading and uploading uploading and downloading messages and data, and they provide better video clarity compared to the previous generation computer. Initially, even if you have a voice call happen, it was not very clear, but nowadays what happens when you use a 4G, besides if your network is good, when you can have a very good clarity, or you can make a video call and the video will be very clear. So what you are using nowadays is your fourth generation computer. The next generation is what has not been implemented. It is in the process. Actually, we are moving now towards the fifth generation computer. That's why this is called as a forthcoming computer or the forthcoming mobile communication. Here there will be new technology. There are so many new devices that will be implemented into your 5G, so that it will become faster and it will become more flexible. People can easily make the video call, right? And then the fifth generation computer that will focus more on the IoT, Internet of Things, where each and every device actually will be interconnected to the internet. You discuss about any device, almost all those devices. The idea behind a fifth generation computer is that every device now can be controlled from your mobile phone. And like what you see, all the apps that are available nowadays, want to adjust the television set, you just use a mobile phone. You want to adjust the AC, you use your mobile phone. Fine. So in a fifth generation computer is expected to utilize a higher frequency band. That means once it have higher frequency band, then it'll have faster transmission speed, so that like when you make call and whatever you're doing now, fine, your video call, your online classes, that will become much faster. There will be more clarity, fine. You'll have sort of a life like where even if people are there on the other side, at least fine, you'll feel that okay, they are right here with you. And so this is regarding the fifth generation of computer. And next here, These are the protocol that are used in all those different generation of computer. I'll start with the first one, the GSM. This protocol is actually used starting from the second generation. Fine. In the first generation, we don't use any protocol. The reason being which your devices use what analog signal. Fine. In analog signal, we don't transfer it over a network. Fine, where you have your own telephone exchange and all that exchange where like message, your voice will pass from one device to another device. Right. So GSM here, global system for mobile communication, is implemented in the second generation computer. This is a cellular system. I mean, it is implemented in your mobile telecommunication, mobile technology. It is the first technology that established international roaming. Before, okay, you will not know all this, but before what happened, even if you want to make just an STD call, what we have, that means you call outside the state, you have to have a conference call, you have to call some the telephone operator, you have to ask them to connect you to a STD call, find somewhere outside your state. But in this particular protocol, this will be the first technology that will actually allow you to even have an international roaming. That means you can call to your near and dear ones even outside India. Like what I've already mentioned, this is implemented in the second generation mobile phone. They having the GSM, this particular protocol, this allows the user to start sending SMS, MMS, fax, voicemail, right? And this was the most widely used cellular technology. When it was newly used, this was the most widely used cellular technology. After this, then in the third generation computer, we have another protocol. This was actually introduced somewhere in the middle of the second generation, and it was pushed to the third generation computer as well. So because of that, this is also referred to as a 2.5G, fine, which is a step from from half of second generation to the third generation computer. This is a packet-based communication service. Remember, in the third generation, we are having a combination of both circuit switch and packet switching. So this is a packet-based communication service for mobile phone. They are more realistic. They have more realistic data capability. That means they have faster rate of transmitting data and transmitting SMS, transmitting your MMS, voice, and everything. The main advantage of using your GPRS or the benefit of this is that it provides faster speed. It is more compatible to many more applications. Fine. So if you remember, we have that standard which allows everyone to actually use one common network. We don't have to use a different network for different server. Everyone here will be sharing the same network. So it's more compatible to more application. And then the connectivity is always on. Fine, you don't have to go get connected it separately. You don't have need an internet connection. Every time you want to make a phone call, fine, just dial the number and directly you will be connected. And so the connectivity is always on. Next one is the wireless local loop. Wireless local loop is what your fourth generation computer are actually using. Now you have your Wi-Fi, right? You share hotspot and all those. Fine. You use what we call as a WiMAX. Fine. Those are the wireless local loop protocol. Fine. This use the radio technology for the telephone connection. The advantage of using this is that it is much more safe. It's more secure compared to the previous generation computer. This is implemented in your fourth generation computer, and they have more efficient data transfer. That means they are much more faster, unlike that of the previous one which used cable connection. And in this case, what we're using is we are using a wireless connection to make the phone call. Fine, that means to call from your phone, say to your friend's phone. Now this is just little bit about your wireless local loop implemented in the fourth generation computer. Okay, and then we have two more wireless technologies. Wi-Fi is what I've already asked you to write an assignment on. Right? So I want you to write down few points regarding your Wi-Fi and your WiMAX. Remember, when you write the notes on any of the concept, right, you write it in such a way that it'll be easier for you to understand. Don't just copy anything that is available in the internet. There are endless number of information regarding Wi-Fi and WiMAX in the internet, but you copy only those features that you can understand, right? So that when you have to write the same thing in the final exam, it'll be much easier for you. You don't have to go through it again. And the moment you see all those points, you'll be able to understand what is what are the features that you have been writing. So with this, we'll stop here for